So this is our oldest peony, oldest registered. And it's just opened yesterday, but it's more open today.
And it probably won't open much more than that. It may just a tad bit wider, but it usually stays cupped. And it's the one pictured on for the species in the wild, Paeonia Peregrina. Notice the foliage and the growth habit of it.
I was telling Gary that the peregrine falcon is falcon. Peregrine. Anyway, peregrinations are traveling afar, and we're starting to wonder if this is traveling afar with its foliage.
Because it spreads out.
It just spreads, but also you can find it in Italy in its native environment, and in Turkey is where not this particular plant, but this species was found, and it's 1768 registered, but that doesn't mean anything about how long it's been on the earth. It's been on the earth for thousands of years.
We found in the reading we've seen it back to 1500 that they found
right
it, but it was brought back from Asia, Near East, Turkey, Asia Minor, in 1768 and registered.
And the guy who did this was a botanist in England, Philip Miller, so it gets credit for Philip Miller, 1768. But it's in its original root, and we love it. It's just so fun to have a peony.
Look at the color is unique. It's red, orange kind of, There's
definitely
no other peony in the garden, I don't think, that has that exact color.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's so beautiful about it, that it's...
And Ron, well, over here, I guess you're still focusing.
Excuse me, is this a single?
Yes, that is a single.
So that's with guard petals, and what's the center then?
The center of the staminodes, the stamens and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, pistils and stamens and all of the sexual, biological part of it.
Now, Ron, this one here is one of the etos. We'll talk about that. Here again, notice the foliage, the point of the foliage. An eto is an intersectional peony, cross between a tree peony and an herbaceous. And one of the pluses for them is their color, the unusual color. You don't see that color in
herbaceous, but
in herbaceous peonies. It notices it's just a different color, and that's a single form Old Rose Dandy.
Gary, would it be fair to say that the form of the flower itself is a little bit on the order of a tree peony flower?
The bud looks like a tree peony bud. It's pointed. Yeah, more pointed than you can recognize the tree peony characteristics, but through the bud and through the foliage, and then the herbaceous through the stems dying back. But this will be developing more later in the years to come. I think it's a little more double than this. Their forms don't come true for 3 or 4 years of a peony. Sometimes they'll stay single, and your etos have a tendency to be a little bit sometimes plain. I don't know if I want to say plain, but simple looking, and they become more complex as they get older. And this is another eto here, right here. See, it's starting to get its doubleness in there. It's still semi-double. This peony is morning lilac. I want to say May lilac, but their May lilac is one too. But notice here the difference in how the forms, they're a little bit deformed, some of them. This is only its second year here, and this is kind of a nice example of a flower, but see, they're not getting their true color yet.
But we've got now already several different colors.
Yeah.
So sort of a, what would you call that?
I would say that's kind of a burnt orange
maybe,
color.
And then that red-orange over there.
And then we have this eto right here, Ron, over here, which you're going to look at it and say, ick. But I hope that in years to come, it'll look a little better. I say ick right now anyhow. It's kind of a washed out flesh yellow, but it's...
I think they're all beautiful.
They're in their own right. But see how they're kind of... But hopefully next year we'll get to see the true forms of them and how they're doing.
This one's just opening, and they're a little irregular, and I don't know, maybe they always will be. But this is in the yellow family, and the Ito is famous. We talked a little bit about it last week, but for those who didn't, Mr. Ito, Toichi Ito, had tried thousands of times to get a tree peony pollen to cross over with herbaceous. So it was the male part of the, what would that be? The pollen was from the tree.
The stamens.
And then the ovary was from, Alice Harding's the tree. I don't know. Alice Harding was the male, I think, and then
Alice Harding was the offspring.
Okay, whatever.
Notice here, I did want to bring this out. The last time I think you reviewed Mary Mayshine had been blooming 2 weeks ago or whatever. Look, the side buds, its lactiflora, are still going on. There's the seed pods of the terminal, but the side buds or flowers are just coming out.
So this lactiflora we talked about.
So it's lasted quite a while right here and here and
will
here.
Continue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be clipping off the seed pods.
Yeah, we hopefully will do that. Yeah. So
to get back to the Ito a little bit, just to review that Gary mentioned the leaves are the tree peony leaves, and the stems are the herbaceous stems, which will die back just before frost or right after frost. And then that's done for the year, and they'll come up again next year. So it's got qualities of both, and the flowers, I think, are a little bit on the tree peony side of different. Mm-hmm. And they're famous because it took all those thousands of attempts before Mr. Ito finally got just seven plants to live, to come up from the seeds that he was propagating and hybridizing. And then gradually those 7 have given hybridizers free rein to go crazy with every possible color you can imagine coming forth. So this is a very healthy addition to the world of peonies. 1948.
Okay, another Ito over here shows the bud. Right here is a Ito peony, and notice the buds. They're pointed like a tree peony.
There's another one up there that shows just without holding the stem here.
Yeah. Kind of pointed. Whereas most regular herbaceous peonies, see here, they're rounded at the top. Just rounded.
Do we have any other Itos open at the moment?
We have one over here I was headed to.
Maybe we can finish out the Itos.
That's one there.
There's one coming. Scarlet Heaven.
Right here is Canary Brilliance. It's another Ito.
That's just brand new today. Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's just coming out. Canary Brilliance. So it's another tree peony, or Ito.
And that's the last one of the moment.
And let's talk about the forms of peonies. You know, a perfect example of a form, of a single form right here, Ron, is behind you. Going up here, this pink one. That's Friendship. That was one that was donated by Howard and ChinWon. That's a single flower.
And they donated it because they picked it as one of their favorites.
It doesn't have to be a single row of petals. It can have a double row, which this probably has a double row, but you see the...
Are those guard petals on the outside?
Yeah, it just has basically stamens and the ovaries in the center. And then we go from there, a single. I might not be able to get all forms today.
Japanese?
Is Japanese, and we have one over here that is Japanese, which would be Showgirl. We're going more into you get a little bit more, more than just the stamens. You get the staminodes in there, and it's
staminodes. Are they like petals, kind of?
Yeah, they're starting to go into a petal, just starting to go into petal, and then we have the anemone form, which we don't have many anemones. Sometimes your Japanese and your anemones are intertwined, and it's this probably would be the closest look. This is an anemone, but you can't really tell on this one, Madam Butterfly. They start getting bigger. It's just that's a real small flower, not real good example. I would say that this one would be going into the anemone form, which would be even going into the semi-double, But this would probably be a good example, just sideways. See, these petals here, they're going more into petals than with the Japanese there. And then a semi-double one, Steve.
What is Cytherea, Gary? Do you know?
Semi-double.
That's down here. It's blooming.
Okay, Cytherea is semi-double. See, I try to they're hard to remember them all. Buckeye Bell is semi-double. See, there's Buckeye Bell. It's semi-double. There. It's got some petals going in it, and you can still see some of the center, some of the stamens and so on. And then Cytherea is semi-double. Here, it's semi-double because it's got more than 2 rows of the outer petals, so therefore they consider it semi-double. Even though you do see the stamens and so on, and that's the reason why. And usually you do see the pistil, the ovaries in there too, on a semi-double. Scarlet O-Hara, this big one, is a single. Right here.
Yeah, just show a few different ones and mention the colors maybe.
Yeah, kind of a rose pink, rose dark red.
So that's back to single?
Yeah, I just went back to single. He'll probably organize that. And then let's do a double. Or we did do a double.
Is this double the one we don't know what it is?
Probably, yeah, we don't know that one yet. That was a goof up in the planning, and we've got to get that figured out.
Cytherea is beautiful.
Vesuvius, which is a tree peony, this is a double.
So even if it has some characteristics of...
That would be a double. Vesuvian. And red grace. Is red grace a double or a bomb?
I think it's double, but I'll look it up.
I want to be sure.
Yeah.
They go in, Ron, what happens is they're confused. Isn't this a gorgeous thing to think that we could have had the other 3 here? This is a double, red grace. I better get out of the sun. Looks like we're losing petals on him now.
Red grace is a bomb.
Red grace is a bomb, okay. A bomb means that it has the guard petals down at the bottom here, and it just forms a big bomb or explosion of petals.
A burst.
A burst, yes.
Like fireworks.
Right, okay.
Bursting from the center.
And double, let's find just a real nice double. We do. Lady Alexandra Duff, check, I think she's a double.
Okay, I'll look. Let's go look over there. Double, blush double, very fragrant.
They don't have to be fair, but...
So, I'm going to sniff it before. Oh, it's great. You want to sniff it too.
We have 3 plants of this.
I'll put this...
Many Happy Returns. Would you check that one, Steve?
Many Happy Returns.
Did you get it, Ron? Mm-hmm.
Did you get it on top, kind of?
Did you want to smell that one? Or maybe you don't want to put your nose in there. Double. Steve put his nose in, but there is another one over there. Another Lady Alexandra.
So in a double, are they always the same color? In a double?
No.
In the center? Or can they have...
They're white doubles and
I know that, but
red.
I mean the guard petals in the center.
Generally the same color, I don't know. Focus on this one, Old Rose Dandy. This is a single. Isn't that a beautiful color? I've never seen that in peony, that color before.
So what is that, Gary? I'm looking it up.
It's a single, or Lovely Rose. Lovely Rose is what this is called.
This is a semi-double.
Oh, semi-double?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's hard to...
They're on a continuum. Everything is, there's not like suddenly...
And they, right, they overlap, they go into one another and so on. Okay, now let's look here. Many Happy Returns, Steve. This, I just think, would be a beautiful one to focus down there if you can get head on that one.
This is a bomb.
It's a bomb. It has the distinguished row of guard petals around the bottom, around the outside, framing in the smaller petals and in the center.
And you'll have the sign that shows the 6 forms, Ron?
Yeah. It'd be nice to go and have people try to recognize them, but it is not an easy thing to distinguish between them. You know. So, yeah. Fragrance, you said Lady Alexandra.
How about Blaze? Fragrance?
Blaze is a single, I think.
I'll look
Single,
it
and it
up.
goes to semi-double, I think. Or it can go.
As it gets older, the plant, you
Hey,
mean?
Ron, this is supposed to be the tallest tree or peony, herbaceous peony in the garden. White innocence up to 48 inches tall. And you divide that by 12, and that's what? How many feet?
Yeah, 4 feet.
4
48
feet.
inches, yeah. So next year it'll be taller.
Yeah, this year. But it's supposed to be the tallest one. That's why it's in the center of this bed here.
So can we,
Herbaceous peony, because your tree peonies will get to be big too.
just for fun, our current honor for the tallest,
Is Linda's dream.
it's really up there already,
That peony
just for a
was
second
named
year.
in honor of the National Garden Club president, who was a recent president, and she passed away, I guess, a year or two ago. I didn't realize that. She wasn't that old either.
And it says 38 inches tall, so even in its second year, I think it might be getting past 38.
But you know, next year
A yardstick.
It may, when it develops it and spreads out, it may cut down to the size. You know.
Red Supreme opened today, Gary.
Yeah, it is, and it looks to me like it's Buckeye Bell, but it doesn't have the foliage of Buckeye Bell. I was checking on that.
Red Supreme.
That might be the change, because look, you can see on Red Supreme, you can see the stamens in it.
It's not in the. Is that a what?
Oh,
Semi-double?
semi-double. Yeah, that would be semi-double. Isn't that a gorgeous peony?
Do you want me to get the other catalog?
No. It isn't in the catalog.
This is a great example of the lactiflora. So you see the big
Why don't you
terminal
move it so
bud.
people can see it, Steve, because you got the other one behind.
The term
lactiflora.
like that, I mean, the terminal and ants. There are ants mythologically helping the bloom
When we
to
had our
open.
tour yesterday, I said, I haven't seen any ants on these peonies yet. And some people said, we saw them on some, and that must be one that had.
So the side buds will also bloom in many instances, and they will be,
yeah.
and they will come later, and they may be a little bit smaller, but they may not. They may be big.
Some of them will be bigger.
Yeah.
Now here's an example of non-lactiflora. See, no side buds. But two, again, you don't always tell. See, there's no side buds on hot chocolate. And I don't think it's lactiflora, but
I'll
I'm
check
not sure.
if it shows.
But I'll tell you what the deal is.
It is lactiflora.
It is lactiflora.
So
Big
this is an
difference.
immature plant.
Yeah, so see, that's another example of the side buds not developing yet on that.
The reason they're lactiflora has to do with the parentage, and one of the parents of almost all the herbaceous, like a great majority of the herbaceous peonies, one of the parents is the Paeonia albiflora. And albiflora means milk white flowers, and these are anything but milk white. But ancient Chinese peony, natural garden peony, had many buds on each stem. And so that's a very dominant genetic character, one that's part of the hybridizing. And so, would you say a majority are lactiflora of the herbaceous? It seems like it.
It seems like a lot of them are. Now,
just
like
look
a
around.
Scarlet O-Hara, I don't think is lactiflora.
Let's look at many happy returns, maybe not.
That's a good question to find out if it is.
Doesn't say lactiflora. It
Yeah.
got the APS gold medal in 2007.
That one did.
And only one peony each year gets the gold medal by
That's
the
kinda like with
American Peony Society, APS.
Yeah. That's kind of like with most plant people. That's the way they always have pick out a winner for that year.
Should you talk a little bit about tree because we do have a bloom there with shimi?
Oh, I'll talk to you. Shiminashiki. Let's go around this way and talk about this one.
Because that isn't a form of a flower per se, right?
What do you mean?
Trees can have singles or doubles or semis, or can they?
Well, yeah, they can.
We got to be sure to get to red grace. Did we already?
Well, he already filmed it. This
Okay.
tree peony here, this is Shiminashiki. Shiminashiki, and it is a tree peony, and it's supposed to be red and white striped. But as we've read up the information on it, it doesn't, until it gets older, it will not have the stripes. Well, oftentimes the first year it never gets them.
We're putting trees in the center of this middle garden here, and you can just see the bark
The woody part.
The woody stem. It's called a woody stem. And it's more of a shrub or a bush than a tree per se, but it gets the name tree peony.
See,
And the plant will die back to the tree, to the bark, if you will.
In other words, what will be remaining is what that you see on that dead one. That shows you what that's woody. And that's dead, and it'll be replaced this year, this fall.
So that's a fossil.
That's a wooded part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So lots of great things. What else would...
Oh, I want you to get a picture of a yellow peony, Bartzella, which is an Ito. Right here, starting to open. It'll probably be open by tomorrow. You can get up there close. Bartzella is an Ito, and it's a gorgeous peony, and it's yellow. That's just opening up today, just coming out.
And it's going to be stunning. There's only 3 little blooms, not little, but only 3
You can see the
few.
The blooms, the shape of the bud and everything. Okay. And what about a peony that smells very good, Ron? And we'll this is new, Renown, a tree peony. This is a tree peony, Renown.
That just opened yesterday.
That just opened yesterday. And if you can get right in there and look at that.
I'll get out of the shadow there.
Lauren is an anemone, or a Japanese. It's a Japanese growing in, but and pink Hawaiian or coral sunset can be a semi-double. It's a semi, but it's faded out. A coral charm, I think. This is the one, Ron, we want you to smell. Last night when we were here, it was really smelly.
It's there. It's a distinctive fragrance.
Top brass, beautiful smelling.
But Duchess de Nemours has a similar fragrance, right?
Okay, well that may be a pair.
Maybe
This is
they're
Coral
related.
Charm, which is semi-double.
That's a beautiful example.
Yeah, it's not a very big flower.
Great color. Kind of show the next to the red, and you can really see how the colors spectrum is.
The red is riches and fame. Wouldn't we all be like to be like that?
Coral Charm, semi-double, early, mid-season.
Okay. Notice that that right now this would be probably early, not early season, but it's early mid-season for blooming, and you can see the peonies that are kind of just taken off the actual regular season. In another week, we will probably be into mid-season, big time growing, blooming peony for this year. That would be the end of June, the 3rd week in June.
Coming on,
yeah, and that'll be the high season for it. And then we'll have a late season. Probably the first part of July will be the end ones, and then they'll be done for the year. So right now, we're not quite to the mid-season. We're getting into that. Still have a lot to bloom yet, so be sure and come.
Come several times.
Yeah, you need to come several times if you want to get a look of all of them. But, and I don't know if you want to get a panoramic view. I wish that whole line was solid like here. That would be stunning down there if it were.
Next year.
Yeah, next year maybe. But yeah, okay.
Fabulous.